Good morning and welcome to today's RC chat. Now with that said, let's get straight across to the screen and where should we start? Number one, lots of comments have come in the last couple of days. Thank you ever so much for sharing your experiences with the different models. So we're running the models which you can buy for 50 quid or less. Absolutely loving your comments in there. So if you haven't watched any of them yet, do go and watch them. And if you have one of those models, do leave a comment on there because it really is going to help others with their models. And oh, if you didn't see it, I FPV'd a horse yesterday. Really, a horse. And it was the Westbury White Horse. Absolutely fantastic location. Extremely difficult to fly there. It was so tough, to say the least, is because the wind was coming over the hill rather than up from the hill, and yeah, very peculiar wind conditions for a slope, and yeah, very odd. And we'll get onto the topic of slope soaring yesterday as well. Give you a heads up. Oh yeah, my little hammy quadcopter video for a maiden, that was knackered in short, so I've had to re-render it. Tonight or this afternoon, we've got the Hornet FPV flying wing build overview, and it also features in today's RC models for underneath 50 quid as well. So we're gonna have a little bit of a Hornet day. What else have we got coming up? Oh, do need to check on the Parrot wing, checking on the Skywalker Eve. Oh, we've had 2 more orders. I think there were 9 in 9 or something yesterday, and that's definitely jumped up to 11 pre-orders. Good lads, if you've been and chose the Skywalker, the one which you put your own kit in. The reason being, I wouldn't really trust someone else's kit selection because that's always done to a budget. At least with a model, yes, it takes longer for it to be built, etc, etc. But yeah, that's the one I would go for. Sorry, that one there is the one I would go for. It's the cheaper one because then I get to select the equipment which I put in it, or you put in it, as the case may be. Again, Mini Mobius, remember you can buy those direct from the manufacturer, and the link to the eBay listing is in the video description for you. And the Parrot, nah. They've moved it down to the bottom of the list. No pre-orders yet on the Parrot Disco FPV flying wing. Now, I did want to share some photos with you this morning from yesterday's action. That is the servo horn from my Zach Combat flying wing. And yeah, this side had the dodgy servo on it anyway, which I managed to break. I've only managed to break 2 servos of those Tower Pro MG90S servos. One of them was duff when it arrived here. It was making a bit too much of a noise, so I just ripped the lead off and chucked it in the bin. And this one, I hit it. I'm 100% sure it was my fault. I hit it. I got an IKEA bag, which I put all the wings in to carry up to the slope. And I'm really sure that I did hit it with my arm when I went up the slope, and one of the gears had gone on it. And they've really gone in it now after a inverted, unscheduled landing. And I broke both of them, both horns on both sides. So I've got to dig out this side, and I've got to dig out a little bit on the other side to go and change the servo horn over. Bit annoying, but on the bright side, I've got no qualms in cutting into the model because it flies absolutely brilliantly. What else have we got going on? I got a picture of the white horse, which I took for the video. Oh, whoopsie! I got the car stuck yesterday. That was very frustrating. Big hat tip to Andrew for coming back and saving me. I was parked right up here, and I reversed back. I thought I'd just put the back round and then turn round. I should have gone back further, because what actually happened is the car came up. If I use that as the car was on an angle like that, so the front right wheel was dug in and the left wheel was left spinning in the air. And I tried everything. There was an old fence post which I rammed underneath. That wouldn't work. You can see down at the front, down in there's a load of stones. I was collecting all the stones up in my hands and trying to put them underneath. There's my phone. Oh, no, that's my builder. And by the way, I leave all these edits in. They're just supposed to be relaxed with over a cuppa. So let's have a cuppa. Anyway, the car was on an angle like that, so that wheel was spinning, and I've got big work boots, which I use because they're nice and strong. They've got steel toe caps, great for just wandering across fields. And the first time around, I put mine underneath, and no, I just wheel span on top of it. And then Andrew came back, and a big hat tip to Andrew for coming back and saving me. We finally got her moved after running over my boot again. To get her out, and yeah, unfortunately Granny saw the Facebook page which basically said one word, bollocks, on it, because that's really what summed up the situation, which I did get it stuck, and yeah, so I need to go and take it to a body shop because I've got scratches all over the back from the wire fence. So oops-a-daisy on that one. I think I've got another picture on here as well. Let me chuck that up on the screen. Yeah, you can see that it was just on just enough angle to just not get any grip. Really frustrating. I thought I was going to be stuck there. And then there's another photo. Yeah, look at the state of my boot. I wonder if I can zoom in there. Yeah, look, you can see what was happening, and the amount of gravel and grit I tried doing, and that's the state of my work boot now. It's got a big tyre skid on the front of it, and I did break the lace as well, which was a bit frustrating. But we did get a free, and Granny wasn't that upset with me. In reality. And what else have we got here? I've got a couple more photos from yesterday as well. Yeah, that's the flying site which we flew at. The white horse was right over on our left on the different tump. When we came here in the morning, there was very little wind, to say the least, and thankfully it did pick up, and I ended up flying my BFG around. Now that's a little hint that the BFG brand new is £80 from Hobby King. But that's actually probably going to be like the 5th video in the models underneath 50 quid, because there's a little tip which I want to share with you around RC models, and that one will make the prime example for it. And yeah, the BFG, it doesn't roll very well. It's not particularly fast by any means or by any stretch of the imagination, and I do have in my head that I'm thinking that I'm going to heavily overpower this one. I did eye up this motor, by the way, which is a SK3 5045. Only rated to about 1.3 kilowatts, but yeah, unfortunately, it just won't fit on the nose. So yeah, I'll have to find a different one. But anyway, coming back to the slope, the BFG. Wow, what a brilliant model. We just pottered around or doodled in the sky with it. And yeah, I flew it for ages. Yeah, the first battery was a 1.3, which I had to move back a bit to get the C of G right. And yeah, I must have done, I don't know, 40 minutes worth of flying with it, with a battery, and there was hardly any wind. It was just great fun just to potter around and just enjoy the scenery. And I'm sure Andrew will comment in the comment section. I was a bit of an old man yesterday. It was windy, I was cold, so yeah, sat down in my little deck chair. The black tarpaulin which I've got, some DPM, I put that up over my lap to keep the wind out, because I was pretty cold, to be fair, and then just hand launched the BFG off one hand, and we just sat there with the transmitter underneath like this and just flying, and it was just a fantastic experience. I had the hood up and I had my big coat on, and yeah, I just sat there and just enjoyed it. I flew that model for like 45 minutes or more. I did get some flight footage with the BFG as well. One camera underneath one wing and the other camera underneath the other wing to give a nice perspective. Is about a 20-minute flight, and yes, there is an unscheduled landing at the end, to say the least. And what else did I have in here in the photos? Yeah, that's a better photo. That was us looking down into the valley. And I also FPV'd the valley as well. That was really cool. I flew out to the right, came back round, came right down there, and then came zooming up over the top. Really cool. And then there was these funny like little V trenches going around the outside, and that was great fun to fly in and around those. And sorry, no DVR footage for that. I didn't have an SD card in my goggles, and to be honest, that was just one of my flights I'll keep to myself, because it was just really cool. And I think it's more of not a case of if we go back there, it's more of a case of when we go back there, is that hopefully it'll be a brighter day, and I'll be able to get some better footage and be a little bit more prepared for the day. But yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. And that hill was actually really steep. So if you see all the way down to that bottom fence, I put my exact speed in that fence over there. And we had lots of unscheduled landings down here and over to the right. And unfortunately, after seeing Andrew going up and down a couple of times, I think in aggregate, I went up and down the most number of times because I was taking, excuse me, the P a lot along the bottom of the slope. Yeah, really, really, really good day. Also, to give you a heads up, I can't fit a 5000 3S battery in the BFG. It just won't fit. I did try. And the other thing which I wanted to share with you is that photograph just there. You may or may not recognize these parts. These are the parts of the mini Talon. And I'm just starting to think about building her right now. I do need to just work out what I'm doing with the electronics. In the back of my head, I'm thinking I've got a Pixhawk here. The Pix Racer is going to go into the large FPV flying wing, so I won't be putting that in this one. I did think about getting a separate GPS and compass for the EagleTree Vector, with the idea of just swapping over the Vector between the two models. But then the more I think about it, is that the more of the faff that is, because they're two very different models. One is a flying wing with elevons, and this one's a one with it's got a rudder and an elevator. Well, it's got a VTOL. So changing the config over on the flight line would be a pain in the rear. So I'm in decision mode what I do with that today. And to be honest, after seeing how good the EagleTree Vector is in the sky, and again, I've got some video footage, I just need to get around to editing it with the Phantom FX61 wing, is that wing was absolutely fantastic. The Vector did such an unbelievable job in it. I am actually wondering, would it just be false economy not to go and get a EagleTree Vector, another one, just for the mini Talon? I don't know. It is more of a considered purchase because it is 180 quid. I don't know. I genuinely don't know at the moment. Oh, I did see a really good mod for the motor mount at the back. Instead of just gluing in the mount and then you're screwing your motor straight to it, is that chances are I might burn out a motor. So that you put the cross bracket, mount that to the wood with some little bolts on the back, the little tiger nuts. That's what they're called. They're tiger nuts on the back, so that you could get the motor out if you needed to at a later date. So I need to go and find some small tiger nuts today. And yeah, that was it. I spent the majority of yesterday slope soaring on the down in Westbury, and it was absolutely amazing. And Andrew, thank you ever so much for inviting me. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I did intend to be back a lot sooner than I was, and I didn't expect to get stuck for an hour or more on the top of the slope. That was very frustrating. Hey ho, it all happens to us. So that's probably a good question to leave you on. Have you ever managed to get stuck or get your car stuck? If the answer is yes, do share with us in the comments section. And on that note, I'm off. Like I said, today is going to be a Hornet FPV flying wing day. There's 2 videos coming out later on that little wing, and it's really good fun. And that was, by the way, that was the wing which I flew to take the video footage of the Westbury White Horse as well. Really cool one, and it did cope all right with the extra load of the run cam on the top. And to be honest, I really do want to go back there and take some better FPV footage, because if I now coming back and I've given it some extra thought, it would have been really cool if that I came up in front of the horse itself, came up and then did a loop, did a span, and then dropped the nose back down and then came back down. That would have made better video footage. And also I had the run cam pointing upwards as well, so that part where I come down on top of her, the camera was pointing up, so you didn't really see it. And really what I needed was the camera mounted underneath and pointing down slightly, and that would have given so much more a higher quality of video footage. But this is me sharing my mistakes and my learning experiences. It's all just one great big journey, isn't it? So next time I know what I need to be doing. So on that note, for myself, Matt, thank you ever so much for tuning in for this morning's coffee session. And look out for the next episodes later today. So for myself, Matt, cheerios.